Are you in pain? Are you suffering in silence? Why? Hi, I'm Lisa Warner. I'm the author of The Simplicity of Self-Healing. And in light of the recent suicides by celebrities this week, pain and suffering are at the forefront of the collective consciousness. So I thought we would talk about that a little bit. Are you in pain and are you suffering? And why? Why do we suffer? Why are we suffering in pain and silence? Well, we're usually suffering because we feel like we've done somebody wrong in the past and we feel a burden about that, or we feel that somebody has done something wrong to us in the past. So, or we're looking at the future, like a future that we don't want, and we're afraid of this future that appears to be the road that we're on, and like, oh my gosh, I don't want that. And so we're suffering in the past and in the future. We're suffering because we're plugged into the energy of suffering and pain. Suffering and pain are an energy. And we think that we're suffering in pain. We think that we're suffering in silence. We think that we're suffering alone. We think that we're suffering in silence because we don't want to be a burden to others. We don't want to burden people with our sorrows. But we're not suffering alone. We're suffering with every other being on the planet who is also suffering. Pain and suffering are an energy. And for every single person who is doing pain and suffering, they're plugged into that energy. They're adding their own pain and suffering to the collective pain and suffering. So why are we allowing ourselves to suffer? Why are we suffering? If you're suffering from something, look at it. What is it? What is it that you are suffering with? And how long must you suffer? Is there an appropriate amount of time that we must suffer? If we've done something wrong in the past and we feel bad or guilty and we are suffering inside and feeling remorse about that, how long must we carry that burden with us so that we have a constant reminder that we should never do that again? Do we have to carry that with us? Or if someone inflicted pain on us, do we need to suffer? How much do we need to suffer to make sure that they see how much pain we're in? Do we have to continually carry the suffering with us? I say no, we don't. Suffering is a choice. See, we're meant to feel all of these feelings. We're meant to feel pain. We're meant to feel the whole gamut of human emotions, but we're not meant to stay stuck in these emotions. We're not meant to carry these burdens with us. We're meant to feel everything and then move through it. So why are we staying stuck? Why are we allowing ourselves to suffer? Why are we allowing ourselves to suffer? Because as we are suffering, we are inflicting that suffering on our bodies. The unease that we feel, the suffering that we feel it in the body. The body is responding with dis-ease to our suffering. The body is in disease in response to our own dis-ease. So how long are we willing to inflict suffering on ourselves and on ourselves? What's the appropriate amount of time that we need to spend suffering? A day? A week? A month? A year? A decade? How long is long enough? Are we staying stuck in suffering simply because we don't realize that we can choose something differently? if that's the case, I'm here to tell you, you get to choose. You can choose differently. But it's a choice. It has to be a choice. You can't just go along in pain and suffering and expect it to change without actively changing it. This is self-healing. This is what self-healing is all about. Self-healing is about being able to manage our state of being consciously. So it's our ability to move ourselves out and ourselves out of the suffering, out of the pain, because it is a choice. Feeling pain and suffering is fine. It's not a problem. And we can stay there as long as we choose. So how long do you choose? How long do you choose to stay in the pain and the suffering? Because you know what? Every one of us who's allowing ourselves to stay in pain and suffering, we're adding that to the collective. Not on purpose, but we're just not realizing that we are not suffering alone. We're suffering with every single other person who is suffering. It's a bandwidth of frequency. If we are plugged into that bandwidth, we are adding our energy to that bandwidth. So pain and suffering is at one bandwidth. Freedom, ease, and joy is at a completely different bandwidth. So if you're in pain and suffering and you would like to experience something different, you have to choose a different bandwidth. You have to choose a different frequency. And as sovereign beings, we have choice. We get to choose how we feel. We get to choose where we place our attention. We get to choose. So what is it that you choose? You can choose to stay in pain and suffering, and it's not a wrong choice. It's a completely valid option. There's nothing wrong with it, unless you don't want to be there. And if you don't want to be there, then you must choose something different. Where would you rather be? You've got to be able to choose. So are you ready to choose to stop suffering? Are you ready to choose to stop the pain? Are you ready to choose to set yourself free? Because you can. Because every single person who sets themselves free from this pool of pain and suffering, this energy pool, every single person who pulls their energy out of that pool, the pool gets smaller and smaller. I mean, think of it this way. If everyone on the planet simultaneously chose to withdraw their energy from that pool, the pool would dissolve. It would completely disappear, and war, done, gone in an instant. As soon as we stop allowing ourselves to inflict pain on ourselves, we will also simultaneously stop inflicting pain on others, because it's painful to inflict pain. So are you ready to help the planet? Are you ready to help stop this paradigm of pain and suffering on the planet? Since it's not going to happen planet-wide all at once, it has to happen one at a time. This is why self-healing is so important right now. We have to be able to heal ourselves and to allow ourselves to stop inflicting pain and suffering on ourselves and our cells is how the world will change. We think that we're doing this all by ourselves and that what we do doesn't really matter. It doesn't really make a difference. It makes a huge difference all across the planet. Every time someone heals themselves, every time someone moves from pain and suffering to freedom and ease and joy, it heals the planet. Don't you see? It's so, you make a difference. You deserve to live a radiantly healthy, happy life. And you know what? We all do. Everybody on this planet deserves this. Every human, every animal, everyone. We deserve heaven on earth. And this is the only way it's going to happen, is one person at a time, until enough of us have disconnected from the pain, from the disease, from the matrix of suffering on the planet. We're going to continue to have war and all of the maladies on the planet that exist. But as we continually disconnect from that matrix, the matrix is going to fall apart, because we're not going to need it anymore. We're not going to need to inflict pain on ourselves. We're not going to need to inflict pain on others through war and through all of these things that are inflicting pain and suffering. Are you ready to set the planet free? Are you ready to set yourself and your cells free? Your act of setting yourself free is a huge step in setting all of the rest of humanity free. So are you willing to stop suffering? Are you willing to stop the pain? It's a choice. You can stop the cycle. You don't have to stay stuck there. So when you're ready to make that choice, if you need assistance in making that choice happen faster and easier, then private message me. I can help you. Let's set the planet free. Let's set ourselves free. Let's set ourselves free at the same time. Are you with me? All right. So if you have any questions, feel free to type them into the chat. I'll be happy to answer any questions anybody else has. So pain and suffering. Is enough enough? Have you had enough? You ready to stop it? We need assistance? Reach out to me. I can help you. All right. So until next time, create for yourselves a great day. Bye.